The first task is to draw a triangle with one right angle. So just to remember, a right angle is a 90-degree angle. So I am going to need to start with two perpendicular lines. So I will draw one vertical line and then go completely perpendicular to that, making a right angle, and I'll draw a horizontal line. I'll just go to there. Now you can see this is my 90-degree angle, and I can mark it by drawing a box in the angle, and that is our symbol for a right angle right here. Now, to make this into a triangle, all I have to do now is join these two line segments together. So again, using my ruler to make sure that the lines are neat and straight, I will just join those two lines together, fix that corner, and I now have a triangle with one right angle and two angles that are not right angles. This is called a right triangle when one of the angles in a triangle is right. Now my next task is to draw a triangle with one obtuse angle. So to remember, an obtuse angle is an angle that is greater than 90 degrees. So I'm going to use my protractor to help me out here. The first thing I'll do is I'll just draw a baseline here. And I'm going to pick a spot where my vertex will go, which will be right here. Center my protractor over that. And now I just need to make sure that I pick a point somewhere beyond 90 degrees. Okay, if I were to draw a straight line up here, that would be 90 degrees. That would be another right triangle, but I want a triangle with an obtuse angle, so I'll go over here. That was 130 degrees. And I'm going to just join my lines together there. And now this angle here we know is obtuse. It's greater than 90 degrees. I did measure it with my protractor when I was making it, and I believe it was 130 degrees. And if I measure it again, yep, it does come out to, you probably can't see it. Sorry, it's 150 degrees. You probably can't see that very well, but it's 150. And again, to make it into a triangle, I need to join the two endpoints of my line segments here. And I will use my ruler to make sure that that is a neat straight line. And I have my second triangle that has one obtuse angle in it. And my third task is to make a triangle with all acute angles. So for that one, I will, again, use my protractor to help me. So I'll draw a baseline. Now, not all triangles always have a horizontal baseline, but because I'm using graph paper, it does make it easier for me to follow the lines. So I want to make sure that I'm going to have an acute angle. I line up my protractor, and as we remember, an acute angle is less than 90 degrees. So I want to make sure that I'm picking a spot somewhere in here. And let's go with right about here. That's 60 degrees. Again, I'll join my vertex to the other vertex using a line segment, and I have an acute angle here. It's definitely less than 90 degrees. To make it a triangle, again, I just join these two line segments together with my ruler. And now, as you can see, I have all acute angles inside this triangle. I can use my protractor to check. And this one is about 57 degrees. And this angle here is about 64 degrees. And then our first angle that we started with, I believe, was 60. And yes, it is 60 degrees. So I have now made the three triangles that I was asked to make one right triangle, that's a triangle with one right angle, one triangle with one obtuse angle. These two other angles are obviously quite small, so they're definitely acute. And my third is a triangle with all right angles. Now, the next step of this task is kind of fun too, so stay tuned. Okay, the next part of this task was to cut out one of the triangles and then cut off its angles. So which one shall we start with? Let's start with our triangle that has three acute angles. I'll just cut off the angles like so. And now we are supposed to place them so that adjacent sides touch. So the sides that are beside each other should be touching. And I'm going to just make sure that all my little angle symbols are lined up at the bottom. Zoom in closer here so we can see a bit better. That did not help. And here we go. So now we are trying to notice what we see, what we can notice about these angles. And when I put them all together adjacent, what I notice is that if I were to take my protractor and measure this angle, it's a straight angle. Okay, we have a completely straight line here when we put all three angles of that triangle together. And if I put my protractor there, you can see it's a 180-degree angle. So let's try it with the other two triangles. We have our triangle with the obtuse angle, and that's going to be a bit more of a challenge here, but we'll do it. And we'll put those adjacent sides together again. And what do you know? When the paper is really curly now, but when we get them all lined up, it's pretty much the same story as we had with our three acute angles. And once again, if I take my protractor, place it down there, we can see we have there we go, that's better when we have focus. We have a straight angle. The protractor is kind of making it get a little out of place. So we've done that with two different triangles so far, and we seem to be getting a similar result. Let's try our third triangle, which was the right triangle with one right angle. Let's see if that yields any different results. Just mark these angles first so we can get them all lined up together. Okay, so let's put these angles together, and I'm starting to feel like we have a pattern happening here, because look what happens when I get this lined up again. Once again, we have a straight angle 180 degrees. The final step in this activity is to add up the degrees in each one of these triangles. So you can see I'm trying not to waste my paper. On the back side of the page that I had made the triangles on, I made a table for each triangle, 1, 2, 3, showing angle ABC and the degrees of each angle. So in my first triangle, which was the right triangle, I was told to make it with one right angle, that's 90 degrees. And when I measured using the protractor, I found that the other two were equal and they were exactly 45 degrees. So if I want to add all three of these together, 90 plus 45 plus 45, well, I actually know that 45 and 45 makes 90. So now I can just simply do 90 plus 90, which is 180. So my first triangle altogether has 180 degrees in it. Now my second triangle is 150 plus 15 plus 15. I know that 15 doubled is 30, so I can now just make my equation 150 plus 30, and what do you know? I have 180 degrees again there. And my final triangle had a 60-degree angle, a 70-degree angle, and a 50-degree angle. Now I did round these a little bit just to make this math a little quicker. If we add those all up, 6 plus 7 makes 13. Add another 5 to that, that's 18. And we have our 0 from the ones column. And again, what a coincidence, 180 degrees. Now that lines up perfectly with the fact that when we actually cut those angles all out and measured them, we came up with a straight angle, which we know has 180 degrees in it. So what you can take away from this is that the interior angles of a triangle, so that means the angles on the inside of a triangle, all equal 180 degrees. And that is a rule that applies in all triangles. So there you go.